Pretty good to me. We're alive! Yay! Okay, what's that? Lineage is first. I don't know much to say.
It was important enough to write. It's important enough.
Cool. No, I had a conversation with all that.
And I know some people and a few novelists. I'm like, I'm just, no. You get the book. I got a look.
I got enough stuff.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome. Give yourselves a hand for coming out tonight and supporting local arts. Oh, you're awesome. Yay. I'm Christine Hall, your host. This is Poetry in the Brew. We've been going in this space for 11 years. Special thanks to Patrick and the Portland Brew East crew who stays open late just for us. Tip them your thanks in cash downstairs. If you want to throw a few in our jar towards our expenses, we welcome that. We also are giving away, for whatever you might want to donate, mugs and books tonight. And next month, we'll be back. These are our 10th anniversary anthologies. We are down to the last two instances of this, our incarnation of Poetry in the Brew. November will be my 8th anniversary with the show. And in December, Silence Wordsmith will be starting up a show in this time and space called Writer's War. It's Silence Wordsmith's birthday today. Lots of thanks. Happy birthday. Congratulations. You are awesome. Yay. So y'all, keep coming. Keep letting the poetry flow. I cannot wait to hear from all of you who are on the sign up tonight. If anybody isn't on it and would like to be, I will keep the list open all night. We are looking forward to a feature from Kendra DeColo a little later, but right now we will get things started. So much thank you, so much welcome. Hello, Billy H.
Dead Poets Society. The Hollywood movie seems to have been based on a literature class at Nashville's Montgomery Bell Academy. I have only one friend who's an alum, and he went there on an athletic scholarship, so he refers to himself deferentially as the poorest boy who ever went to MBA. But believe me, intellectually, he belonged there. And he's the father of three of the brightest kids and nicest people I've ever met in my life. And he's taught them what he and I have learned. Reading is its own reward. One of the greatest joys on this earth. Books are spiritually invigorating. And communion with the poets of antiquity is time well spent. Breaking bread with the dead. The world drove me away from it into the arms of magic words. And the line between the writer and life, in my mind, has always been blurred. You see, I have lived vicariously through the great classics I've read. It's what W.H. Auden called breaking bread with the dead. The Dead Poets Society is still alive, and it's well. The same language that all of us speak, each other's stories we could tell. You read their thoughts as they read yours, and that's how our souls are fed. Living words, sharing communion, breaking bread with the dead. I owe a debt of gratitude, reinvested in these few lines. You see, every minute I've spent in books has paid me back 1,000 times. A book on the nightstand to nourish my spirit within. I don't eat crackers in my bed. I break bread with the dead, and my soul will never be misled, breaking bread with the dead.
Ooh! Oh, wow. Thank you, Billy H. Oh my goodness, you always give us a fantastic start. Poet, performer, magnificent person. We have a new speaker on our mic, I believe. I am so happy and thankful to welcome Phoebe Farrell Sherman. Thank you so much.
All right, this poem is called Permission, and there are a few lines in here that come from the poem Lady Lazarus by Sylvia Plath, and then there are a few lines that come from Go to the Limits of Your Longing by Rainer Maria Rilke. So what? I let you cut my hair, after years spent growing it as long and glossy as corn silk, bleaching it silver and gold, standing cold in the shower with coconut oil on my hands. I wanted to be a woman who let everything happen to her. Beauty, terror. I felt the familiar shadow say maybe, say yes. Dread perfumed the comb dipped in water. I watched the floor turn soft and brilliant in silence. I don't have to practice for when nothing comes roaring up. I've been open to a wave from God since I first slipped down your hill. My willingness immaculate, unwalled, without respect, expecting reciprocity in the still dark in the form of a good feeling. I waited for a wave as blue as God or bluer, but out of darkness, I saw a stupid, crazy flame devouring me. And bite by bite, nothing became nothing again. Of course, I reincarnated near Eden, red-haired, gorgeous, ready to eat you like air. It isn't fair that I am so good at following directions. By the time you read the poem, I've already left. I'm looking for you so I can finally tell you, if God asks if you do it again the same, you say yes. I'll read one more. This poem is called Vessel. You don't really know what my body looks like. A curve of white trimmed water, lifting, breaking, turning again. I don't float like you think I do. You'd like to decompose my body into drops of mist. Inhale me, freely exchange me with you. Still, I'm a pane of ice from the feet up, obsessed with lines and your mouth on mine, pulling the sound from my lungs. Fascination holds things together. Filler poured into cracks. Magma melts. There's smoother unity when wet flame takes everything into itself, keeps taking. How it feels to yell. When you see a flicker and scan for the source, I'm not bleeding, I'm dripping rage, and you lick it, say it tastes like tears. If I could reach past the ends of my limbs, could reach out to you, would it feel warm? If you could make me out of twigs and matches, if you could burn me to death, you would. Nothing like dying in a red curtain, dying with nothing on. What will I wear in the coffin? A mouth full of ashes.
Phoebe Farrell Sherman, what a fantastic introduction to your moving words. Thank you so much. Next, welcome back, and so grateful to Donna Whitney. Thank you.
Thank you for lowering that to my height. That is great. This first one is called The Existence of Whales. A whale cloud appears in the sky over West Mead. The dog-walking woman alerts the text thread. Whale-crazed sisters respond with exclamation points and smiles. A sisterhood of old women who love each other and text all day, woven together this day by love of whales. The woman puts on her whale nightie, tucks herself under her quilt in the blue bedroom on this last night of summer. The waning crescent will rise behind clouds, unseen. The woman dreams deep sea dreams. The dog snores on his cushion. Displaced from the bed by a man who sleeps in his own bed miles away. The woman doesn't hear the dog any more than she sees the moon, dreaming her deep sea dreams. Morning brings autumn. Morning brings news. 200 pilot whales beached in Tasmania. 200 whales. 200 whales. 200 whales. This is a lament for every whale who ever met a harpoon. This is a lament for every baleen turned into corset. This is a lament for every ounce of spermaceti turned into lamplight. This is a lament for every ton of blubber turned into margarine. This is a lament for every chunk of whale flesh turned into chewing gum, pet food, and typewriter ribbon. For all the whales ear blasted to death by Navy sonar, this is a lament. This is a lament. This is a lament. This is a lament. And you, God, you, the God of the sun-dazzled white whale cloud, you, the God of old women who love each other, you, the God of the dreaming woman, the snoring dog, the absent man, you, where were you when the 200 washed up? Are you not the God of the humpback, God of the blue, God of the right, God of the beluga, God of the gray, God of the 3 million slaughtered? Do you not know that the existence of whales is not to be taken for granted? And the God of all whales, real and imaginary, whispers, I know, and weeps. And this is a sequel, it's called Dog Hair. The dog is back under the covers again, no longer displaced by the lover who took up space but was never really present. Not really. The dog snores softly. I don't mind that he sheds, I just change the sheets. The stuffed blue whale sails the sea of my blankets. The one squishy pillow fills the gap between shoulder and ear. The blue whale sails the sea of my dreams. In my dreams, there is no harpoon, no warming ocean, no Navy sonar to shatter whaley ears. My dreams fill the moon-drenched room. They're the oxygen that the dog, the whale, and I breathe in and in and in. Born of ancient burning stars, stopping by the room tonight on a dance through eternity, like the dog, the whale, and me.
Oh.
And changing the mood,
Mm-hmm.
this last one is called Happy. I've been happy to see the sunrise. I've been happy to read the moon. I've been happy to smell the coffee. I've been happy to taste the wine. But man, when I opened that box and saw my old books in there, those 3 books I loaned you, I was happy like I've never been happy to see any man. I mean, dance around the kitchen happy, shout and startle the dog happy, call my sister happy, write a poem happy, tell all my friends and eat cake. People, I mean happy. You can keep my shampoo and conditioner. You can keep my curl cream and that bourbon I bought. My books are home, and I am happy like I've never been happy to see any man.
Yes. Keep it going for Donna Whitney. Thank you. An excellent exaltations and lamentations. I love everything that comes from you, Donna. Thank you so much. I'm gonna push one more time. I would love everybody who's here tonight to walk out with one of these books, whether you have something to put in for a tip or donation or not. I cannot tell you how much passion the readers of the Brew put into that book, celebrating our first 10 years in this space. However, this lives on. I know that it is a sacred communion we share. Donna has poetry in there. You definitely don't want to miss that. So make sure you grab one before you walk out today. And next, we get to welcome a person who has given us a fabulous feature before, who is always a wonder on the mic, and who will be your new host come December. A very big happy birthday, congratulations, and thank you. Welcome, Silence Wordsmith.
No, I actually gotta keep it.
You are? Wow.
Cool. You know? This first sweater. So this is called Dying to Live. You make me want to fake my death. White lilies and baby's breath. Get off my back. That is all I ask. You've been killing me since I was born. For every rib, there is a thorn. You've never taken my side. That is something I've taken in stride. The difference between taking care and taking orders. You lay it all on my shoulders. You make me want to fake my death, like Shakespeare's Juliet. I feel as though I must pay a debt for a life I haven't lived yet. You pull me up just to push me around. You brought me up just to bring me down. My new life, incognito, speeding through an endless desert highway like a deployed torpedo. The white light in your passing is not the presence of God, but the dawn of a new life, burning bright and hot. You make me want to fake my death. You'll know that I'm gone when you see what's left. I would believe that you are so bereft, but not for me, for yourself, that these tears are wet. I fake my death, not to survive. I fake my death, not to survive. I fake my death to feel alive.
Ooh. Silence Wordsmith, thank you. Shoo-wee. Make sure that you check out Writers Award starting here in the same time, same space, second Saturday in December. And we'll be back next month. Just one more time. Now next, I'm excited to welcome back, thank you so much, Kelsey D.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad I'm here because this is my favorite month and I've had a couple of fun Halloween themed poems I wanted to test out. Sorry, my app closed on me. So this first one's titled River Witch, or Confessions from Your First Attempt at AA. This is in no means a knock against AA. Great program, it works if you can get going. Sitting next to me, silent as a ghost, you then attempt the tale, how she stirred you deep inside, forced your legs to pump, flow backward, and run the other way. How she hooked you with her sinewy hair and cast her spell with a stolen moon, some slick siren rising from the dark. And then you wave a survivor's flag, claim to know the depths, declare you've hit the bottom of the deep and wide. You who night crawled along the swollen levees, cupped her murky breasts, and tried to suck her dry. You who looks away when the madness is replayed, unable to brave the mirror without wiping away the soot. Tell me then, what color is the river 200 feet down? My dear, you know nothing of the depths. Your eyes had breached the black, remember? That night the levees broke. Her serpent's tail came knocking, flinging river rats at our door, demanding you to sink me like a sin. And now you sit with shaking knees, still coughing up her vines, the shadows craving to curl your throat for one last squeeze. But down in the watery stillness, with decay washing away, I've been quietly gathering gills, and from my riverbed, I'll tell you this. The true color of deep sears white hot, a reflective fever lit within, burning up the dark. It's where the bottom feeders have singed whiskers, and even the eels are first afraid. But go ahead and stand, a half story, clenched in hand, flag fallen on that shore. I'll be blazing bright below, newborn fins flared wide. Let me know once you decide to really dive. And this next one's entitled Hush, It's Just Fun to Say. I wanted to read this that way. Hush. I craft a wreath of skeleton, dry twig, and creeps that crawl with things in the dark places that rattle near our house. I remember how she once loved Halloween, the pretend scare of demons when nightmares existed merely in dreams. After her therapy session, I'll brew cocoa with marshmallows, white as knuckle bone, and show her how to paint the ghosts with smiles. I cut the dead flowers with a sharpened blade, but the stems refuse to lay down quiet. I curse myself, quick. I fear I'll run out of time to shape the mouths of pumpkins into permanent grins, something wicked like this way that always comes. Last night, I had to dream again. My shadow chased me. I was a buffalo. Someday, she'll let me show her which way she needs to run. Oh, thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Kelsey D. Whew. Ha, marinate in that. Goodness gracious. I'm thankful for it. Ha. Next, we welcome to our mic, William Garrett Lee.
I just got broken up with, so these are going to be kind of a bummer, but you know, here we are. So this first one, I don't really have a title for yet, but we're rolling with it. Here we go. It moves with you in New York. It breathes and beats and breaks with you as you walk her gray streets with conviction. The world and the moon and Saturn at your fingertips. You can be it all. You are the sun and the universe. You are New York. For I can never know her without you. Nor could I know love, nor warmth, nor peace. Nor could I understand the holy without the 4 loving letters of your name spelling it out for me. So it will move, it will breathe and beat and break with New York, with the sun and the universe, with love, with warmth, with peace, with holiness. This one is a letter that I wrote, but it's, I think it sounds cool, so I'm gonna read it. Here we go. It's so much easier to be mad at you, to think about all the little things that seem too inconsequential while we still loved each other closely. All of those little nothings that seem to make or break my memory of you now. You never watched Willy Wonka with me. You never wanted to go to thrift stores and shop for holy clothes or too big clothes or I'll make it work clothes. You never listened to that album I sent you, the one I told you meant the moon to me. No letters from New York, not even a postcard. The flowers I sent placed by the television. I was never the centerpiece. Little nothings. That's not to take away from the love you did show. Certainly a simple love. A do-nothing kind of love that makes you want to do nothing more than lie around lazy all day getting burned up in each other's sunlight. That's the good shit. That dance to Davis, sing with Sinatra in the kitchen kind of love. Fills you up before the water starts to boil, before the meat can thaw. Preseason kind of love where all you have to add is a pinch of red pepper flakes and it's perfect. What kind of love can beat that? Fuck, I can't be mad at you. Oh, I lost my place. Fuck, I can't be mad at you, but I'm trying my best. I was already in a world of pure imagination with you, but it sure would have been nice to hear old Gene sing all about it. I've got nothing else to be mad about, so that's the hill that I'm dying on. I almost wish you would have found a New York lover so I had something real to be mad at, none of this kitty candy shit. It's easier to be mad so I can pretend for a second that I'm not utterly heartbroken, so I don't have to face the embarrassment of being right about us, of being wrong about us. Of foretelling the future of heartache I would feel for you leaving and being wrong for thinking I already had been. Anger is a faux fur coat in February, but please just let me have it. Let me tell you, assure you, that I am warm and don't need your gloves or the pockets of your leather jacket to stay comfortable. I'll watch Willy Wonka on my own. I'll just double up on socks so my toes don't fucking freeze off. You better not watch that shit without me.
Whew. Yeah. Most excellent. Thank you for sharing this space with us. We appreciate your words and your sentiment and the flowing of that poetry in the form of a letter or any form it takes. That was exquisite. Oh, good. Yeah, the sign-up list is still going. If anybody would like to join who hasn't yet, that would be marvelous. Welcome. Let's see. I know who comes next. I'm excited to hear from this poet every time, which included when we had our pop-up at Scarab Bennett, which was really fun. Thank you and welcome, Saxy!
So I didn't have time to finish my Halloween poems, but since I probably won't for next time, just shout out to everyone who was in the club of Too Afraid to Read this horror books and now write their own nightmares.
Yeah!
So I'm going to do a short, sad one and then a longer, lighter one. Did the canary in the coal mine sing? Perhaps a happy tune, not understanding a world beyond the candlelight, full of purpose, full of pleasure, only to cough, to feel the death surrounding, to end its song, and hear the fleet run away, and suddenly see its song mean nothing to them, except to be silenced. The less depressing. Let's play conversation game. The rules are pretty easy to pick up, although I mostly had to learn on the fly. Try not to embarrass myself after the game's already started, but I think I got it. 3 points for starting a topic and 1 point for each comment added. Jokes are 5 points if someone laughs, -3 if no one does, And you get an extra point if someone responds, "Hear, hear, bam, shots fired, oh snap, or yes, queen." Then add an extra point for any snapping or clapping, of course. You set a time limit, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. Simple, right? That's the base game. Let's talk about conversation control. 4 points if you start a story, but if you lead to another one, it's 4 times 4. So you can chain 3 together, that's 64 points hands down. That alone can win the conversation. Arguments are complicated. You put 2 points in the pot when you start the topic. Every time you go back and forth, you add an extra 2 for each speaker. Whoever has the last word gets the pot, because for some reason, arguments are about winning, not understanding. Certain jokes get a little mushy. There were 5 points in some groups and -5 in others. If you hurt someone's feelings, it's -10, unless you say it was just a joke or they need to have thicker skin, in which case, for some reason, it neutralizes the penalty. Even the other person is still hurt. In fact, if you get them to leave, some players tell me that it's a plus extra 5. There are a few more gambling moves. If you start saying it's a risk, you get 2 points for the first bar, -2 if you keep going. Unless people join in, then it's +10. A pun is -1 unless it's really good or really bad, in which case it's +5. And movie quotes need to be recognized for another 3 points. Plus 2 points if someone brings up a topic that excites you because you know to talk about it with. +2 if you can jump in and add to the conversation because, oh my gosh, you thought you were the only one who liked that, you have all these opinions, and you really want to talk to someone about it. Don't they love it? Don't they adore it? Don't they notice that one obscure detail? And you have this crazy theory. Isn't it great? Isn't it? -5 for realizing you broke social norms. -1 for every second of awkward silence. And if you trail into an apology, they give you weird looks, but maybe they will let you keep playing. There are special editions, of course, the Thanksgiving dinner, the bar conversation, and meeting their parents for the first time all have subcategories. Although I don't recommend giving out score sheets for those events. Just announce the winner when asked to leave it about. I also recommend the referee separate from the scorekeeper. You'd be amazed how angry someone can get if you give them a yellow card for unsportsmanlike conversation. So it's best to have someone who can handle it with a little muscle. Maybe even give them an extra point for a dude not cool. I think that's the base game. But like I said, their house rules may vary, so I suggest asking the host before you start the conversation, so you know what topics are taboo and which are encouraged. But be careful, because if you apply to play conversation game by certain rules, they may decide they want to play something else. I think that's enough to get you started. Just get a pen and paper, write down the names, and listen well. Because if you're too scared to play, you can just pretend you want to keep score. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sexy. Thank you so much. Truly, always a delight. Oh, our next poet, I believe predates me even here at Poetry in the Brew. It is my honor to welcome and thank you so much, David Stroud.
I got all kinds of good stuff. I go way back to Kaji's house.
I only went there once.
I think it's brother here.
Yeah.
He goes back there too, so. Okay. But I started writing poetry probably, can I remember that far? 50 years ago, but I took a break when I was about 25 years, when I was raising a family. And I wrote a few poems, but not that many. But this is one I wrote. It's fictitious, by the way. It's called Silence Screams. What do you think when you hear silence? You didn't hear all the things I didn't say. You don't know who I was just thinking about. It's what I didn't say that speaks volumes. You didn't hear me say I love you when I made breakfast. Did you hear me say I want to make you happy when I made you cake and ice cream? They were unspoken words. Even so, action bespeaks truth. Did you hear how I feel about you when I asked, can I get a kiss? And the reason why I asked, can I get a kiss you? Did you know I felt love when you made that delicious dinner? I said it was good, but did your brain hear it? You say the words are cheap, but it didn't cost you anything to hear the words, I love you. No matter which one of us it was coming from, you didn't hear me ask, can I help you? Instead, you thought you heard silence. You didn't hear me when I asked you to turn down the loud music? Obviously not, when it continued. Did you hear me when I asked you to leave me be? Or can I rest in the easy chair? Why is it called the easy chair when the moment you sit down, life becomes uncomfortably hard? The hard chair would be a better name. You may not appreciate poetry the way I do, but it's the music in me. It's my poetry. You don't hear how I deal with stresses by staying up late writing my feelings and dealings, using words that rhyme and chime. You don't hear that I hate to be hated. Whenever someone says hurtful speech to me, it's the silence of not returning anger for anger that you hear. You didn't hear that anger ripping pieces of my heart. You didn't hear my crying inside as metaphorical bullets hit their target. You probably didn't hear me say stop, even when I raised the audio. Those weren't silent screams, just loud, metaphorical dreams. Dreams that one fine day you might actually hear my silence. I was going to do my signature poem, but the person I wanted to hear it, he's not here. Okay. Okay, it's a friend of mine. And this is one I wrote in 2004. It's called On Again, Off Again. Love loves me, it loves me not. Hate hates me, it hates me not. On again, off again. To click or not to click. Love is like my window fan, dispiriting unknown disquietudes, stoking the menus of disparities. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. Mortify my molecules to soften my dispositions of etymologies. You're the unknown element in my undiscovered heart. It's the circuit breaker that tries to come apart. You juice me up, you shut me down. The embodiment of love's possibilities exists in the powers that be. The endearing heart is what I see. Heart, a harmonym of sense, is awakened. On again, off again. Your love is but a super sin. The electricity that flows in the surge, desiring for the solemnity of the on again and again, hoping for the return of love's urge. I got one more I had to update because of my age. Okay, so it's called A New Day. No more slaving for the old days, struggling with my old ways. Gotta make the best of staycations without vacations. While I can still hear with my glasses, and my spit is still sweeter than molasses. Still smiling with my feet, never know who I might meet at my lyrical exhibitions. I'll be jumping over these hurdles, running faster than young turtles. Not slaving like the old days, or making waves with my new ways. From end of red to end of black and back, I'm still driving an old truck with gauges so out of whack, I can't even use my GPS to get back, let alone afford a tic-tac. I'm working for the Benjamins, so I can buy our little ones some vitamins. And I'm still going through so much red tape, trying to get the sense it does take. Never let it hit you like a yard rake. I work a 14-hour day for 4-hour pay. I don't know what to do to tighten up the screw. I'm still crawling on all fours on dirty dungeon floors, still cleaning up this trash. Never get a rash. I'll be running races at 69. Gotta open up a better grind. Never slow down. Never listen to the crazy clown. And never let the monsters defeat you. When all you gotta do is let your love shine through. Still waiting for the monsters to die, so my heart will never cry. Gotta buy me some more paint to paint the joy that ain't. No more smiling with my feet. Never know who I might meet when I'm running down the street. I'm not dancing on silver-colored clouds, dreaming visions of prismatic shrouds, surfing rainbow laser beams, imagination streams, from daydreams to reality's extremes. Just trying to eke out an existence, trying to be a Christian in a world that's anything but. Not meaning any disrespect, it ain't easy to keep on track when society's a train wreck. I can't ever say we when the council is for me. I'll be climbing the highest tree to find the best in me. I won't need to jump to the sky
to make the best I. Never say we, always say I. It's what I would do to make myself a better I, because I can't live without my glasses. Though my spit is still sweeter than molasses, I'll be jumping over these hurdles, running faster than young turtles. I can't be the best I can be unless I look at the we. I'll never say we, never say we. We won't ever experience a true utopia except in paradisiacal conditions. For today, we create the dingy decks that must be partly sanitized and prepared to receive fresher arrivals that particulate the insistence on new and more improved inventions to vacuum the film off our sanity. And so in time, we advance to decline in our temporary reclining residences. In one fine day, some of us will enjoy the real life that's meant to be on a paradise earth made for you and me, from shining sea to shining sea. Thank you.
Oh, boy. Thank you so much, David Stroud. Okay, so next, we have a pillar of several communities here to speak with us. A poet, an artist, an activist. In fact, the poet laureate of Henderson. One of my co-editors on Sinew, which I would like you all to walk out with. Just grab it and run. But I think also you should actually buy a book from our featured Kendra. Do you have books with you? Okay, so shove ours aside. Ours are complimentary, but yours are priceless, but they do have a price. But you don't want to leave without one of those. I know I don't, for real. We're going to hear from Kendra. Really. Welcome. Thank you so much, Henry L. Jones.
Yeah, I'm gonna share in the theme of Halloween, death, and all that wonderful stuff. I'm gonna share something down and something up. Okay. First the down. I read this poem 2020, and Christine, I think she said, yeah, the thing was the blue moon. You remember that, Christine?
Blue moon,
Yeah.
I saw you standing.
So I thought about it, and I said, yeah. I've never written a Halloween poem, so kind of challenge. And it's kind of creepy, but I like it. It's titled My Lover's Visit During a Full Moon, dedicated to the Blue Moon 2020 Halloween. Now imagine you have this delightful woman dancing in a cemetery near a headstone. And I'm alone, in my comfort, resting in peace. I heard you dancing under the full moon one night, your thumping feet loudly pounding dirt with delight. My ears enjoyed your souls, I no longer wanted to rest. Alluring beats awakened the sunken heart in my chest. Dry blood soaked my dead flesh fluid before my end. Your scented legs tease me. This I just cannot pretend. I tried to resist those cold remains to your loving arms. Jerk meat and stale bones couldn't reach my charms. Your charms. Lunar caresses stirred your dew, warmth blowing in the wind. You rode licks of grass by my headstone and climaxed in the end. Your edge wetness filled the cracked soil, so I'd be reborn. My grave below still dry and cold from the reaper's scorn. Demons torture me to bring long torment and many tears. They dangle relief for all my sins, been doing this for years. Lustful fantasies fill my mind, replaying like lucid dreams of kissing your soft lips, then it fades, nothing is as it seems. Phantoms tickle me with worms crawling into my tomb. This confined part of hell is my box with very little room. Your visits bring me passion and hope one day for grace, longing again to make love to you but in another place. I know people sneak off the cemeteries and, have their little meetings, but I don't think I do. You, as human beings, we're very creative, but you gotta watch what really turns you on, because if something really, really freaky turns you on, it's like, whoa, I'm a different person now. And, now for the up one. And this is kind of sad. I've been involved in some virtual open mic poetry events, and one that I occasionally followed, she had to cancel, the host canceled, said that her sister died. And she's going through this, and I remember her mentioning a few times, I think, about her sister. People, they share certain things. And that night, I missed open mic, I was looking forward to it, but I wrote this poem, and then I sent it to her. It's titled, Our Moment in the Clouds. I remember when we laid in the grass watching clouds as they slowly raced across the sky while hearing our laughter bounce between the blades of grass and dandelions. Standing proudly between us, they seemed to laugh with us and soak the warmth shining down. We waited for the day to end. Days seemed to last forever, only timed by moments of games and joys we shared. Now you're gone, my sister. I sit in silence and just wait. Time lingers as I look vacant. Clouds pass above my head and become thick and heavy. The way my heart feels inside. Rain falls from the clusters, a soft drizzle, but I don't move. It helps camouflage my tears, falling and feeding my grief. But nothing grows but pain and sudden fits of anger. I try to wipe away the wetness. The sun emerges in a break of blue. I look up into the sky, soaked. Clouds part, more I stare through glassy eyes as two clouds, I swear between clumps of them. I see your peeking, smiling face, looking at me and laughing. I know those eyes anywhere as you dance through cotton candy world with long swirls of sweetness. When I see clouds, I remember. And it's like we're together again. In the grass, next to dandelions, who laughed with us in sunshine. We're together again in that field because my memories of you and our love will never die. Thank you.
Henry Jones, thank you so much. Gorgeous work. We next welcome and thank you, Greg Slade.
Hello, everybody. Do two, a little shorter one, and then a little longer one. So, for the shorter one, it's called Salvation, an Army of One. The act of giving for me at times might be more clearly seen as a feeding of my weakness. The weakness I have for sharing of my strength, testing myself by giving at length, taking pride in my own depletion, failing myself yet claiming some achievement. Sacrifice that doesn't sanctify but justifies my poverty. Leaning upon my lack so the giving doesn't bother me. Feels a little sweet, in fact, to offer up what most would save, you see. It makes a noble mission for the slave I have not chosen to be. A life whose value might be found in the sharing of bread and the giving of the wine, warm and red from me, pouring myself out as if my well was in fact the size of the sea, hoping against hope to make some rain before the waters have all went from me, as if my own flesh and blood might be a factor in the remedy, straining myself in the hope of my own relieving, forgetting to replenish the blood I've been letting loose in its leaving, swaying to the sacrificial regretting, shaving off the skin that was meant for its shedding, taking too much poison to ever stay standing steady, breathing out so well that I become so lightheaded, and the head becomes heavy. Having reached the end of my own believing, one who gave all hung by his own feelings, half-life of a hero, having given up on their own need for healing. Call me radioactive, man praised mainly for my own decay. Will the cavalry not come then? How well, as freedom may indeed not really be free, salvation perhaps is never really safe. That's called Salvation, an Army of One. And this one's called Where Is My Mind? Nobody knows me at 4 a.m. Somehow that's when I know myself best. Paranoia derived from wondering why anyone else is ever nice to you. Knowing if they knew you. Rather, if they knew you all the way, they would turn and run the other way. Like all the others who have changed their way from love into the one that never was. Just to change their pace, left behind, left for dead, but still alive yet. Am I dead already? Dead man walking beyond it. Going through whatever's beyond it. Learning to be who I was when, finding out how it went when I was gone. Then when my faith fell asleep in the garden. My heart took the prick which would eventually harden. The break that didn't break, no place straight to escape all the streets, all the secrets it would take to even try to half explain would take such tender ears, it would take the tenderness away. No, those not known by the day, these are they. These are they. Vampire diaries of the Gilded Age, the night I am whatever I say. Free to define myself my way, trapped in a truth you couldn't give away, in love with sounds you could never make. Tired of being real, but afraid to be fake. When the sun again rises and it's time to once again put all of this away, not to be spoken of. Once you think you can read the signs, one was braced for the downward slide, racking the brain in 4 and at 5, dreading the day that's coming alive where the truth must wait, where it cannot hide. Where you say you're okay and that nothing's a lie. Say then that my psyche has been broken, that's just a nighttime truth in the daylight awoken. I know all too well the hearts and minds in me that rose and fell. I know well the garden with no gate. I am my own, you can't negate my rage. That pain is for me the gift that you gave, the fire inside to wet my eyes, to fall and rise, to rust the cage, to come to terms into some other living's phase, to shock the mind, to take the new place, the hardened heart seated with the ancient prick, praying the dark to learn to heal the sick, burning whatever end of the wick until I've had enough of it, thinking by myself a bit, who would ever help to think of this? I could call someone if some emergency hurt exists, but at 4 a.m. there's no one to tell, no one to call, no way for me to, as I do, insist. Only me and the candlelight, the open sky and the stars bright, the movie set in the middle night, the last man on earth still trying to get it right. Remembering love which may have never even been alive, No one to tell, but still dying to describe what I've taken down of the unsolved mysteries of life. During the day we play that all the mysteries have died. At 2 and at 3, when it's only me, I see the other side, the unresolved. Our resolve overrides the thoughts our hearts, the waking minds despise. The sight of your and my other eyes, the heights of the clearer mind. Clarity, I suppose, that is my midnight find. Finally finding out, where is my mind? Where is my mind? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg Slade. Such a truly satisfying ride there. I want to say that, well, first, however, we are always rich on content. It's a little light on the list length tonight. We're down to our last 2 readers on the open mic. So if there's anyone who has not spoken and would like to, please join. Otherwise, we'll be hearing from our feature quite soon. Excited for that. And for our last couple speakers on the mic, thank you all for braving the unfathomable traffic we encountered on the way here. Yeah, that was something. So you all are just truly wondrous. And it's wonderful hearing from you and also just knowing that you're here to support poetry here. And I see also, I want to give a shout out to next month's feature, John Winston Heacock. Hello, hooray! So wonderful to see you. I'm next going to welcome, oh, what a joy, the ever so ever lovely Pearl.
It's a haiku for my love. Your demons love me. They scour for my naked truth. I lie, flame.
Oh, hey! Yes! That was a giant haiku. Thank you. Hey, I know our next reader too. Please welcome my son, T.C. Smith!
As always, it was wonderful to be here tonight, and I appreciate everyone that read. Y'all are my muse, and I said that last month too, but it remains true this month. And I'm so happy and grateful to Silence Wordsmith for keeping this space, for lack of a better word, sacred, and somewhere where people can come and hear these brilliant things that people are inclined to share on this microphone or a microphone. In any case, thank you. It's been a weird week for me, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But I wrote this time. I wrote a dark limerick and another poem that is, I don't know if it's dark, but it's something. I like it. So I'm going to start with the limerick. And it's a work in progress. I'll polish it for next time. But here it goes. With mortar and pestle, I grind up your bones, make fertile a garden walled with gravestones. I'll boil your flesh to broth in my pot, add some fresh parsley and a forget-me-not, and serve it all for dinner to pleasure their minds.
Yeah.
Limericks feel weird in my mouth. Is something I noticed when I was reading that poem. So there was that. I'm much happier with this one. That felt weird in my jaw, it must be said. Okay. I was born and live uncertain. 'Tis likely I will die the same. So be it. That is and always will be fine. We inhabit a world of uncountable questions. We will always want for clarity. A day may come when we know all that can be known, when all that can be learned has been. Even so, we shall still die wondering, raked with questions like, what was that? Why was it like that? What happens now? I forget whether the sage or the fool claims a sure answer. That surety is not now nor ever will be mine to boast of. But if thou shalt indulge, I will venture a guess or three. What was that? It was. Why was it like that? Because mistakes were made. What happens now? Something. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, T.C. Smith, and let's hear it again for each and every one of you. Shoo-wee. Triumph of community, culture, and arts. Phew. Viability, as you make it. Hey, I didn't say the thing I like to say. This show is what you make it, so thank you for making it. Yeah. We're gonna hear from our feature, who I think you heard has some books for sale. I'm gonna get one. You better make sure while you're over there getting one of Kendra's books, you grab one of ours, because you buy one and you get one and another. And you've got to keep reading poetry. You've got to keep poetry alive. It's up to you. You understand this, right? You all are doing your duty and you're doing it so well. So let's keep on. Keep it on. And also, let's hear that Kendra not only has this book, which is I Am Not Trying to Hide My Hungers from the World. What a title is that? Also books with titles like Thieves in the Afterlife and My Dinner with Ron Jeremy. Oh my goodness gracious, right? And it's truth. It's total truth. Everything is the truer than true with Kendra DeColo. Also co-author of Low Budget Movie, which is a collaborative chapbook with Tyler Mills, who is also freaking incredible. Winner of very many awards, countless really. Who am I to count them? She deserves all of that and more. They're still coming. We are incredibly honored, ecstatic really, to welcome and thank you so much, Kendra DeColo. Oh, no, hang on.
Okay.
I don't know your height. I thought you were like,
Yeah, I'm a little.
you have
I
stature.
have stature, yeah. My words, stature. Hi, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm feeling so inspired from hearing your work. So many lines floating through my head, and I have like the pixies stuck in my head now. I have that brilliant, it felt like a rap song. You read that, it was rhyming. You were you wrote it a long time ago. You've been writing for 25 years. Anyway, it was just I'm feeling just so inspired. That poetry is just alive in so many different ways. The last 2 years have obviously been terrible, and we've been isolated. And these poems just feel like sustenance. Hearing them right now. Hi, Andy. Is that Andrew? Hi. Christine, thank you for just your generosity and your abundance and all that you do for the poetry community. Just so grateful for you. And to Portland Brew, it feels really special reading this book here tonight because I wrote it in this coffee shop. I wrote it at that table. So I wrote it after my daughter was born. I had terrible postpartum, whatever it was, whatever you name it, I had it. It was a postpartum just mess. Hormones, it was really hard. And I was used to being able to write all the time and going from that to not writing at all. And then finally, when my daughter got older, I started coming here. And that table saved my fucking life. Coming here every moment I could. And those poems are in this book. They're soaked in breast milk and blood and tears.
Love.
And love. And total love. Yeah. The hormones are also, the good ones too. So I'm going to read some poems from this book.
I would love to talk after the reading, and I do have books for sale over there if anyone's interested. So thank you again. I have one spooky poem, and I'll let you know when I get to it. You guys might get why it's spooky. So the first, I'll just read the title. You guys should get the references. I'm thinking about the movie Con Air. I'm thinking about the movie Con Air and my love for Nicolas Cage, which is profound and focused on the abundance of his hair, the way it trickles and recedes to the middle of his scalp, coursing down his back with an unevenness that mirrors the body's swollen inadequacies, one of my breasts whistling with milk while the other sleeps flat against my chest, the asymmetrical splendor of speakers swelling with fuzz and odd time signatures, like half of my body restored to its original form. I never met Nicolas Cage, but I watched Con Air so many times, I could conjure the chiaroscuro dribble of his voice, blue smoke lapping the edge of an extinguished star, and imagine he too knows how to disguise the body into something less fragile. The tired meat of his heart striated into 1,000 directions like a smoldering compass, as when I gave birth and the midwives praised my composure, said their last patient clawed the bed like a raccoon, and I wished instead to have given birth like a squid, shooting an obrate cage of ink and ovum out of her orifice, ragged and deranged with hormones, because didn't I hold my daughter and wish to be as feral as a raccoon? Who knows love is the blunt metronome of rummaging through trash, who doesn't think but throws her body into the labor of it. In the last scene, Nicolas Cage grips the pink bunny he bought from commissary, ripped up and dripping with fuel, and hands it to his daughter anyway, and I will watch him over again to see him stand there bruised and lit with the one good thing he has, my left breast emptied while the other floods with music, soothing the vowel-starred tongue. Yeah, Nicolas Cage saved my life too, because he was someone I kept writing about. You gotta find that like one person who's just like your muse for like the month, and he just, got into the Con Air. It's a great fucking movie. Why am I swearing so much? Because I'm not with my kids right now. Like, you get fucked, you're gonna fuck. All right, Mom. I write poems about motherhood. Tonight, I can write the most motherly lines. For example, it's true, my asshole will never be the same after giving birth. Not its shape, but its soul. Small wick of shadow I once called home and dream. Tonight I can write how it burned like a votive. The whole inverted star, a series of grievances from which another self grew. Seance and seams split off to live parallel lives like vaporish twins. I can write that I gave birth and died and came back to life. And my asshole will never be the same. It wore a haunted look those first few weeks, claimed it needed to take fresh airs in the country, wore aggressively Victorian clothes, strutted around naming geodes like a gentleman farmer. Shut up, asshole, I admonished. Tonight I write my daughter emerged and split me into two selves. It didn't hurt the way they said it would. I rocked on my knees, singing like hurtling my voice off a cliff. My husband's hand disappeared into mine, and for a moment I left this world, a hem of blood between us. I broke onto the shore of a fixed note. I helixed and drank the urine of starved apparitions to keep myself afloat, slapped the shit out of my reflection, squatted and squeezed a rocky planet out from the blue horizon like a ship bifurcating a labial sky. But my asshole, to whom I must now give credit where credit is due, taught me how to anchor to the earth, locate the hot center which I always knew was there, but never saw shining in my sacrum like Orion's belt when they stitched me shut in a ragged, casual way, even though I wished to stay open a little longer, unhinged and full of silences. Tonight I can write that I would give birth 1,000,000 times over and not tell anyone about it if I could feel that kind of way again. One hollowed self opened wide, enough to swallow my body and spit it back out into the earth. Now for the spooky poem. Once upon a time, we had a 45th president. After a long line of spooky, terrible presidents, but this one was by far the spookiest, I tell my daughter. But we banished him for the time being.
Yeah, but I still have your broadside framed in my power corner.
They were all terrible, and as long as we don't dismantle patriarchy, racism will continue to be. Okay. I would like to tell the president to eat a dick in a non-homophobic way. I would like for him to really taste the dick, savor it like a last meal, note the way it has or hasn't been recently washed, the residue of baby's powder and sweat sheathed at the base like a foamy negligee. I'd like for him to choke on the dick, if that's what he's into and it's been talked about beforehand. I'd like for him to really get to know the dick, how it curves to the left and bends towards justice, how it is sweet and bitter under the foreskin, how it is unashamed of its history and knows where it's going. And while we're on the subject, I'd like for Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell to eat a bag of dicks too. Style dicks. The confetti of frosting covered dicks exploding in their taste buds like a Saturday morning balloon drop. I would like to ask the president to eat so many dicks that he vows to eat more pussy, which have vitamins and minerals and the secrets to success, until he feels clean, until he feels as close to the face of God as a man can get, until he loves dick and pussy so much he shakes like a man redeemed in a church revival tent, understanding that first there was the word, and the word was let them eat dicks, and the word was good. Lord, let him eat a dick that knows it will one day die. A dick that expects nothing in return. Humble dick, tired dick. The dick he must eat. The one he's feared his whole life. The dick that might fill the endless void inside.
Wow.
Now let's turn the page with some joy. I hope Hillary's having good sex. Okay, way back to good old Hill. Those emails, man. Those emails.
I heard they found him down in Florida.
I hope Hillary's having good sex. I say to myself at the farmer's market while fingering the over-ripened bustier of an heirloom tomato, so close to rot it nearly sucks my pinky into its dappled maw. I hope she's at least getting decent head, I say again, now that she's proven a woman can win the popular vote and still lose to an imbecile, because sexism, because Russian interference, because my grandmother who worked for LBJ and then Nixon and who was harassed by male coworkers until she had to quit, even she said of Hillary, there's something about that woman I just don't trust. I hope Hillary is getting it in by Bill or someone better at listening, who asks her for what she needs and gets directly down to business without preamble or pussyfooting. Someone who emerges only for a sandwich or a breath of fresh air. I hope she has multiple side pieces, each a different build and scent. And when they ask to see her closet full of immaculate suits, organized and shimmering on their racks like a god's molten skin, she lets them just touch the hem. I don't like to have sex while I'm on my period. Even though my husband is the kind of guy who isn't afraid of a woman's fluids, who might even go down if the flow is light. A real man, you might say, if the logic wasn't steeped in toxic masculinity. The way the sheets are steeped in blood after making love on day 3, the rasp of stain beneath us, like a bat fluttering its wings in a puddle of Robitussin. I can't help but think it's crude to put down a towel before we begin. The way a man sticks a gloved finger up his wife's vagina to assess if she's done bleeding. Clean, you might say, if that language wasn't steeped in violent misogyny. Because isn't my blood the cleanest part about me? Fuck a towel. If you want to go deep, you better be willing to draw blood. My husband is a real man, isn't afraid to smell the shed lining, muffle his face in the spasm of cells. Wasn't afraid to watch our daughter emerge and split me open, crowning, which means my body concussed around her like a crown, which means there was so much blood, I had to touch it to remember where I came from. The hot and pulsing corona, ruckus of DNA, metallic and stinging. Love, forgive me, I do not want to be touched while my body orchestrates this unraveling. As much as I love the bouquet of clots riding at the base of your cock, bright as a truck stop souvenir, to own a part of you where the blood remains dried and hissing, a dwelling of dank perfume, as the body travels back to its source, and I'm answerable to no one, not even my own name. I got another, just to give you a preview, I got another period poem.
Yay!
I got a Nashville poem, and then an ending poem. Thank you all for listening. Are we doing okay on time? Did I just...
We are doing so brilliant on time.
So I kind of had this beef with Naruto while I was writing this book because he's like my hero, and then some stuff came out about him as happens, and so I had to really wrestle with his history. I don't think Naruto was thinking of my tampon when he wrote Body of a Woman. How it bloats and swells with urine every time I pee, or the Diva cup I consider buying in the health food store, while Paganini's first concerto for violin pierces through my earbuds, with arpeggios I first heard on the car radio when I was 17, and the music inked into me its gauzy ambition. I choose size 2 for women over 30 who've given birth, which is a polite way of saying loose. But tonight I feel like they really have these how big is your vagina, the Diva cup packaging. Turnip truck, by the way. They have a good assortment. Tonight I'm feeling romantic, thoughtfully tearing into a package of cherry pie, imagining what it might be like to be rendered under the glow of the Citgo sign, which is so much like the moon I can't tell the difference. There was the lover who said my body was as good as Drew Barrymore's, another who said I was better looking naked than he predicted, and another who said I looked like a child and prostitute combined. The one who said I was so beautiful it made him want to hurt me. Is this what you meant, Neruda, when you wrote you stretch out like the world? The jetty of curls that thickens with blood on the last day of my period. Did you mean the shimmer and molt, the near-death stink of a movie theater's overflowing dark as the credits unfurl and entrails of crushed candy scribble over the plush carpet, or a banquet hall flashing with half-filled bingo cards, or the IHOP sign at Sturrow Drive like a church marquee announcing I'm almost home? Did you mean the rows of Slim Jims gleaming in the packages of synthetic skin, a beard of neon dust sprawling across my chin, hunched in the dark of the gas station bathroom, where the attendant keeps the vanilla-scented air freshener plugged into the wall? Could you have imagined me pulling a cup of blood from my body? And if so, was there a word you felt and was it envy? All right, this is like my Nashville Teddy poem. When those scooters first landed, y'all, I was so mad. I was walking my daughter home from school, and there was one of the electric scooters in my path. And I try and set a good example for her, but I picked up the scooter and I almost chucked it into the street. She's like, "What are you doing, Mom? Doesn't that belong to someone?" I'm like, just setting it up for them. And now I'm like, why do I care about scooters? The world's fucking burning. Why was I so, anyway. Yeah, I could write a poem about electric scooters. The ones that self-described disruptors created and left scattered in the touristy districts of Nashville, which is to say white, which is to say I don't know how to travel and not be grotesque, as the blonde bachelorette parties on their booze wagons that leave me breathless, the desire to sprawl and develop, just like Jesus himself, who must have said, "Thou shalt fuck over thy neighbor if it makes a profit." I could write the scooters are lime green, and today I saw a woman riding one in a tattered wedding dress she found at Goodwill, the kind of slip I was never tough enough to wear, but I envied the girls who could, the ones who channeled Kathleen Hanna and Courtney Love, who gave blowjobs behind the bleachers. Oh, to be at home in my own body like that. To be in the world like a tech entrepreneur and possess so little consideration for the world, I can glide right through it. Like the frat boy who bought the historical home next door and turned it into a tourist shop, who also drives a red pickup with a sticker of an AR-15 that says, "Come and take it," which is another way of saying, "Who's gonna stop me?" which is the smirk of Brett Kavanaugh, which is the smirk of every man who's been stockpiling alibis since he was 17. Thou shalt not, fuck sustainability. I want to be the girl burning down the street at rush hour, dressed like the iridescence of an oil-soaked wing. Come and get this pussy written on her forehead in blood, ready to take down the motherfucker who tries to grab her next. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Christine, for inviting me here. I'm not trying to hide my hungers from the world anymore. Not trying to wipe the smears of gold from my chin. Not trying to erase the decadence of seeds and profanity of Greece. Not trying to pretend I don't open my mouth around the zoptic pearls of rain in the middle of the night, or that I don't love the moment right before sleep when I'm most tender and translucent, my bladder half filled, knowing I'll have to get up and pee, knowing my daughter will wake before I'm ready. The way I became aware of her on a climb through the mountains, a heaviness in my limbs, a gentle premonition as I walked later to the Rite Aid, and I knew in my hands, and I knew in my mouth, and I knew in the way my body pulled me forward as I wept with joy but also grief, that a part of my life was ending. And isn't it good to know when life is about to swallow you whole, take you in its arms and say, live, bitch, live, and you believe it. And this is how I'll carry her from her crib and open the curtains partway, not ready to let the world in. The trails of smoke and exhaust, winter blue, as Cat Stevens' Mona Bone Jacqueline spinning on the crossley that opens like an old suitcase when my daughter stands on a chair, lifting the stylus from its perch, guiding it to the starry chowder that hisses between songs, wondering what will play next. Thank you.
Kendra DeColo. Yes. Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, literal tears, but also, yeah, right into any kind of metaphysical, metaphorical realm and rippling on through all of existence. Thank you so much for the poetry you put into the world and that you brought into our space tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you. Wow. All right. So we'll be back next month with John Winston Higa. Aren't we fortunate for that? And then, of course, in December with Silence Wordsmith. How exciting. Kendra has books. Go buy one, get it signed, have a little chat, learn something even else to take out into the world. Grab a mug and one of the sinews. This is it. These last 2 months are your last 2 chances to do that. So really just take them. But also get one of Kendra's books. That's the most important thing. Thank you. Remember to tip your appreciation in cash to Patrick and the Portland Brew East crew who stay open late just for us. If you want to revisit any of this reading, we'll have it archived on my YouTube channel. It's pretty easy to find. Poetry in the Brew is on Facebook and WordPress and Instagram, and also you could just Christine Hall Poet is pretty easy to find on YouTube, or Poetry in the Brew, or any of those things. You're so welcome to find us any of those places. And we hope we see you next month, y'all. Thank you so much.
Give me one more round of applause for this glorious institution that my mother has built for years. But you both remember what it is.
Oh yeah, I gotta end live. Sometimes I forget to do that.